Hey everybody, it's Chris, and I'm joined here with Colby from D4 Deep Dive. We've been doing a series on Unearthed Arcana, arcane subclasses. This is our finale. We're finishing up with the final two subclasses, the Necromancer and Transmuter Wizards. We've gone over all the other ones, some on my channel, some on his channel. So if there's one that you wanted to check out, it's either here or there. And you should probably be subscribed to both of these channels or
Mhm.
you're a moron. I hate to say it. Uh, but we were all thinking it. Uh, so we're going to start with the Necromancer Wizard. And you know what the Necromancer Wizard does? It creates undead thralls, casts life energy sucking spells. And at level 3, we are going to get two different features: Necromancy Savant and Necromancy Spellbook. Necromancy Savant is the same as all the other Savants, and it's better. Necromancy Spellbook. Secrets of Necromancy magic in your spellbook grant you additional powers. You gain the following benefits. Necrotic resistance. You have resistance to necrotic damage. And Grim Harvest. When you cast a necromancy spell using a spell slot, choose yourself or a creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself to gain a bunch of temporary hit
Temporary hit
points.
points. We're
Blah,
going to
blah,
see this
blah.
today,
Blah,
aren't we? A few
blah.
times.
Oh, and it's not even the last time with this subclass.
Mm-mm. No, it is
Okay.
not.
Resistance to necrotic damage. You're a necromancer. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. And they eventually got it with the old version, but it was until higher level, and I never understood that. But Grim Harvest is fine mechanically, but do we really need another feature that gives out temporary hit points? Um, you know, the old version of Grim Harvest raised the max hit points of creatures like undead you summoned or sorry, it was undead you created, but you could
Right.
make it summoned or created.
Yeah.
Couldn't we do that instead? Then have yet another source of temporary hit points?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, it was
Yeah.
undead thralls that used to do that for us.
Yeah. It's all,
Grim Harvest used to heal us. It just was a healing of hit points.
right. We should be sort of specifically, I think, the ones that make our undead thralls like really good.
Yep.
And while you could do that with this, you can also just give somebody else some temporary hit points,
Yep.
right?
And it's boring,
Yeah.
right? Everybody can give out temporary hit points.
Yeah.
Almost as many. This guy. I guess it's either the temporary hit points or teleport. It's one or the other. Yeah, everybody
Right.
gets.
Right. Or both.
Okay, and then at level 6 we get grave power. Becomes grave responsibility. You have discovered more necromantic insights and inscribed them into your spellbook. While holding your spellbook, you gain the following benefits: grave resilience. When you use arcane recovery, your exhaustion level, if any, decreases by 1. Overwhelming necrosis. Damage from your wizard spells and wizard features ignores resistance to necrotic damage. Um, so the exhaustion, I
Barely
think we
comes
can
up, right?
both agree. I get it thematically. I have no problem with it, but
Sure.
it's ribbon. What's your thoughts on overwhelming necrosis or
I
necrosis?
mean, I'm trying to think how many spells I'm going to be casting that deal necrotic damage, right?
I mean, necromancy spells often do,
Sure, but
but
again, I
they
guess,
suck.
well, yes, and um, I mean, it's fairly common among damage types for monsters to have necrotic resistance. I don't know about fairly common, but it's common enough that it's like, okay,
Uh,
but again, like
I can
to
tell you.
to me, the Necromancer is should be more about having more powerful undead minions, not dealing necrotic damage necessarily, but okay, fine. But like, yeah, t you tell me as far as like resistance goes.
All right. So in the monster manual, 2024 one, there are 28 creatures in the monster manual that are immune to necrotic
Okay.
and 23 that are resistant to necrotic.
Okay.
So less than half
Yeah,
of
I
the
mean,
problem
if
is
you're
solved.
fighting undead, probably there's a decent chance, right, that they'll have it, and
Well,
you're the
that's where
master
most of
of
the
undead.
resistance are too. So you're really kind of guessing.
Yeah.
But you're really not solving the issue because there's actually more creatures immune than are resistant, though
Right.
it's comparable.
Sure.
But this, you definitely shouldn't come to think that my necrotic damage is reliable.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, there's a lot of creatures immune. It's still the vast majority will not
Yeah.
be, but there's enough immune that it's you're not fully reliable here.
Mm.
Um, you would be better off with just doing thunder damage.
Yeah. So situationally useful at best. Um,
On the upside, the spells that are thematic that do damage will do necrotic. There are some creatures this will help against.
sure.
So,
Sure.
but I don't love this. I think
Yeah.
level 6 could use something.
Well, they do get two features at least.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Um, this one was actually all right. Undead Thralls. You always have Summon Undead prepared, and you can cast it once without expending a spell slot. When you cast Summon Undead without a spell slot, you can regain hit points equal to half the summoned creature's total hit points, which isn't a lot. I think they get 30? But doing so
Yeah.
halves the creature's hit points. Once you cast a spell without a spell slot, you must finish a long rest before you can cast a spell this way again.
Yeah. It's pretty meh. I mean,
Yeah,
I'll say this. I used to get frustrated by the old Necromancer because they had a problem similar to like the Shepherd Druid with Conjure Animals, right? In that the main play, I think, for most Necromancers was get an army of skeletons, right?
yeah.
And they could
Give them all short bows.
right.
Yeah,
And they could better than anybody, like get more skeletons more quickly, right? And keep them alive better and stuff. And yeah, it could potentially slow gameplay down to a crawl. I mean, I played in a long campaign actually with a friend who was a necromancer, and this was their play, and they would always have like 4 to 6 skeletons, and they
yeah,
would each make their own attack, right? And it was just
yeah,
like, oh, okay, it's his turn. Oh, all right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be back in 20 minutes when your turn's over. And so I appreciate that they're getting away from that. Um, I think that this needs to be better. I think maybe I regain hit
make your
points.
summon undead spell better. Yeah,
Sure, sure. Make summon
rather
undead
than make
stronger.
it a little bit worse, but give you a crappy amount of
Yeah.
healing.
Maybe
Yeah,
maybe both. Maybe but don't take away their hit points. Maybe I just heal, right? And they
yeah,
don't lose hit points.
yeah.
And or they like we
And
both gain hit points or something.
and we get that whether or not I expend a spell slot to cast
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, if
Every
you can only
time
do it once per
it,
day. Yeah.
yeah, uh, yeah.
So
I think this is underwhelming, and I think
so
level 6 is underwhelming.
yeah, Grave Power and Undead Thralls together don't really make one good feature.
Not quite, not quite. I don't think it's like terrible, but it's not quite there.
Yeah.
And level 10, Undead Secrets. You've learned more secrets about the nuances of life and death. When you finish a long rest, you can expand a 4 plus spell slot to protect yourself from death until you finish a long rest. The next time you would drop to 0 hit points. Your hit points instead change to a number equal to 10 times the spell slot expended. In addition, immediately after you take damage and are bloodied after taking that damage but not killed outright, you can take a reaction and teleport to an unoccupied space within 60 feet of yourself, and each creature within 10 feet of the space you left takes 2d10 necrotic damage. So we get both a when you drop to 0 hit points, you don't fall to 0 hit points,
Yeah,
and a teleport
it's
in the same feature.
it's a buffed Death Ward, right? Because
Yeah,
it's a 4 plus spell slot, and you get a lot of hit points back.
yeah.
Well, I mean, you get a decent
Well,
amount of hit points back.
it depends. Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess 40 at least.
yeah. And
40.
then I do like the it's not just
I
you
like
take
the
damage
teleport too.
and you return damage,
I was
but
being a
yeah,
little
like
silly.
and there's no limit to how often you can use it. You just have to be
No.
bloodied, right?
Yeah.
You just have to be bloodied. So that's cool. I mean, it's
That
like
is
they come
cool.
up and whack you and you're boom, and then somebody else comes up and whacks you and you're boom, and you're leaving a little explosion
Yeah.
behind you, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. I actually, I was being a little sarcastic there, but I actually don't mind this. I think
Yeah,
this is all right. They've done enough here to make it interesting.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
Even though they're reusing features that get used a lot, but
At least it's not a bonus action teleport.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And level 14, Death's Master. All right. While holding your spellbook, you gain the following benefits. Bolster Undead. As a bonus action, choose any number of undead you have created or summoned with a necromancy spell that are within 60 feet of yourself. Those undead each gain temporary hit points equal to your wizard
Yay!
level. Once an undead gains temporary hit points from this feature, it can gain them again this way again for the next 24 hours. Harvest Power. When you use Grim Harvest, the creature that gains temporary hit points gains one of the following benefits of your choice, which lasts until the end of the target's next turn. Until the end of the target's next turn.
Yeah.
Yes, you heard that correctly. Advantage on attack rolls. Woo! For till the end of their next turn, or
Right.
advantage on the next saving throw it makes if it
Till the
happens
end of their
before the
next
end of their
turn.
next
Yeah,
turn.
yeah.
Um, so Harvest Power sucks.
Yeah, it's just, you know, granted, you can use Grim Harvest on other allies, right? So maybe you put it on your non,
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I'm not talking about Bolster Undead. Bolster Undead is boring,
right,
but it's not bad. Harvest Power,
right.
which is the
But what I'm
when you
saying
use
is,
Grim Harvest, you give
yes.
nothing of consequence to anybody.
Yeah, I
That
mean, you know, you might have a, I mean, you might have a
oh,
hard
I
hitting
see what you're saying. Maybe you got a fighter and they're using action
attacker.
surge and they're going to make
Yeah, and
100 attack rolls and they
they
can't
don't
find a way to get advantage
necessarily have
already
advantage otherwise. Yeah.
because although advantage is super cheap at this level,
Yeah,
they
like
have for
they're
some
not
reason they don't have it.
toppling anybody. They're not, you know,
Yeah.
whatever, and they just really need advantage. Well, now they can get it. I mean, you know, and not only that, but let's see. It's when you use Grim Harvest, the creature that gains temporary hit points. How often can we use Grim Harvest again? When you cast a
When we
necromancy
cast,
spell using a
yeah,
spell slot.
yeah.
So by 14, I mean, maybe we're casting lots of necromancy spells, and maybe we are the reliable source of advantage, you know, for somebody.
Okay. Yeah, no, you've convinced me. You've convinced me that there maybe that can be used to give advantage to the party fighter or something, and that could be
Right.
helpful.
Or the
What that I'm not sure what that
non-vengeance
has to do with
paladin.
necromancy, but anyway,
Yeah. Yeah,
I'd prefer if Harvest Power gave a boost to your summoned creature
sure.
that was
Let them,
substantial.
yeah, let it do a little more damage, right? We've already got
Yeah,
plenty of temporary hit points going around. Let's focus on the offense, maybe.
yeah.
Um, Maybe it gets an extra attack. I don't know. Something, right?
The temporary hit points are okay, but it's more temporary hit points.
Right.
Um,
Is this stronger or weaker than the old Necromancer mechanically, do you think?
Overall for the subclass,
Hmm. I would say
I'm not sure.
weaker. I would say weaker but less annoying.
Yeah, okay. I would go with that. I'd go with that.
Um,
Yeah, because it really depends. But here's the thing: I often found the whole Hortus Skeletons plan to go horribly awry.
sure. One
Uh, like,
fireball and they're all
like
dead.
you walk into the dungeon, trap occurs, everybody gets hit for 2d6 damage. All the skeletons and every spell slot you spent for the entire day is now gone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that it was often or the skeletons don't fit where they need to fit because there's so
Yeah,
many of them and they're getting
yeah.
blocked and there's
We
nowhere for
had
them to go and
we had a game. Well, it was actually we were playing Curse of Strahd, and spoiler warning, at the end of that campaign, you fight Strahd.
yeah, yeah.
So,
I'm glad you gave a
just in
spoiler.
case you didn't know that.
I'm glad for that.
And
That would have been
in
bad.
our final showdown against Strahd, we were in a small room, and he was completely surrounded by like, I want to say our barbarian and like four skeletons who were melee because my friend also he liked to mix it up with melee and archer skeletons. And me as a paladin, there was no space for me to get in and like attack
Oh,
Strahd.
that's so much fun.
And I had like I was the only paladin and there were no clerics. So all of the awesome magic items that you get in that
The sun,
campaign
you had the sun
that
sword.
benefit paladins, I had the sun sword, I had all of, and I was like one of our hardest hitters and I
And you're
was
being
ready to
blocked by a
smite
skeleton.
and I'm like, hey, Frank, like move out of the way so I can get an attack in. I was just like, I
Uh,
guess I don't even remember what I was doing on my turn, but I was so annoyed. Anyways, yeah. So I'm glad that that is hopefully less of a problem now. I mean, the animate dead spell still
I
exists,
mean, yeah, you can still do it, but it's not
but
as yeah. The one that where they all got bonus to the damage,
yeah,
that was the issue, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So that being gone, I get. I mean, if you wanted to give them bonus to damage, say one creature, right, instead of
yeah,
every creature
yeah,
or something. I don't know.
sure.
But anyway, yeah, I think I would agree overall it's probably weaker. Um, but it's not terrible. It's
Yeah.
okay.
All right, should we do?
I gotta be honest, I'm not all that excited to play it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
me either. I mean, to be fair, I'm not a big like I've never really enjoyed playing like summon focused characters.
Yeah.
So maybe if I did enjoy that playstyle a little bit more, I might be more interested, but I don't think so because it's mostly just like temporary hit points and temporary hit points
Yeah.
and
And
like
you get to avoid the resistance to necrotic damage, but your summoned creatures don't.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And the final subclass we're going to cover, last and I don't know if it's least or not, Transmuter Wizard.
Nah. It's kind
Uh,
of cool.
is it? Okay.
I think it's kind of
So
cool.
the theme of a Transmuter Wizard is they use magic and they turn things into other things, or
Yeah.
they alter things.
Yeah.
And at level three, oh, and this is one of the ones that used to at level two get a feature that was kind of crappy,
Hmm.
but people would bend over backwards trying to find ways to make it do something useful,
Yeah.
which they have now gotten rid of. So at level three, we actually get three things. We get Transmutation Savant, which is the improved Savant feature. Then we get Transmuter Stone, which we used to get at level six. Now we're going to get it at level three. This is the one that gives you proficiency in Constitution saving throws and other selections that you will never select. Um, and no, they have not been improved to the point where you would ever want to select them.
Mm-mm.
But the nice thing is that you can hand the stone to somebody else, and then they have proficiency in Constitution saving throws.
Yeah.
So your thoughts on it? I think, hey, you're gonna give me Constitution proficiency? I'm happy.
Yeah, I don't have to take my fighter, my level 1 fighter dip now on my
Yeah.
wizard. Or artificer, I suppose.
I guess I should, just to be complete, say that if you were ridiculous and chose dark vision, it does now stack with existing dark vision.
Hmm, right. But yeah, so you could have 120 feet of dark vision, right? Yeah,
Yeah, of
okay. But you're going to take Constitution
course you
proficiency.
are. Yeah,
And, getting it at level 3, I mean, that's nice. But
yeah.
it's not the only feature you get.
No, you also get wondrous enhancement. You always have the enhance ability. I like this one actually. I really
Yeah.
like this one. You always have the enhance ability prepared, a spell prepared, and you can cast it once without a spell slot. You gain the ability to cast it this way when you finish a long rest. Targets of your enhanced ability also have advantage on saving throws using the chosen ability. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, it makes sense for a transmuter. You've enhanced somebody, right?
Sure. Kind of.
And
I
then
mean,
and then you get this and transmuter stone and an improved savant feature.
yeah. The
So,
problem, of course, with enhanceability is that it requires concentration.
It does. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, do I really want to be in combat concentrating on this so that somebody can have advantage on their saving throws?
Is combat the only time you ever make a saving throw, though?
No, but yeah, I mean, it's a second level spell.
You can cast it without a spell slot.
Yeah, I guess if you're like if you're thinking, okay, we're in a dungeon, like there's probably a trap
Yeah, there's
coming.
traps. I'm going to enhance my dexterity
Yeah,
and I'll also get saving throws on dexterity saving
right.
throws.
Or maybe
Plus, it'll
give it
help
to
with my
the
stealth,
right, give
right?
it to your rogue who's going to be the one out there trying to find the traps and disarm
Ye-
them.
So to their intelligence, maybe. No, they
Yeah.
already have intelligence proficiency. Oh, but they
Yeah,
don't have
that's true.
advantage. Yeah. Um,
Eh,
yeah. No, I think this is, I think, I mean, it's not super powerful, but I
no,
think I kind of
but
like it.
it's useful.
If it was the only level 3 feature, I'd be complaining.
Right.
But on top of Transmuter Stone, which I think is pretty good for level 3,
Sure.
right?
And the
Yeah,
transportation savant.
here's my complaint. So, Transmuter Stone, why not make a bunch of features that compare with Constitution saving throws so I actually have a choice? Because
Hmm.
I don't have a choice.
Yeah, that's true.
I have to take the good one.
Yeah.
So that would be my complaint is why not fix that?
Maybe what? Increase your spell save DC.
Maybe,
Um,
or even if I was to look at these, dark vision, I don't know, short range true sight, maybe,
sure.
um, speed increase, maybe it's a more significant speed increase. I don't know. We just make it
Or
better.
maybe for you and, your friends that are within 10 feet of you or something.
I mean, everything that's not Constitution saving throw proficiency is a lot worse,
Yeah. Yeah.
a lot worse.
Yeah.
So I think you'd have to do something dramatic to make them viable options. Then level 6, we get split transmutation. When you cast a transmutation spell, such as Fly, that can be cast with a higher level spell slot to target an additional creature, increase the spell's effective level by 1. Now this, we just saw it with split enchantment. So transmuters get the same thing. You can use this feature, except this one's limited in use, but it's earlier. Level 6. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. And here are the wizard spells it works with.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what I'm unclear on. How many spells is
Okay.
this actually
The
gonna work with?
a fair number. Fair
Okay.
number. Jump, long strider, blindness, deafness, enhance ability, which also would make them benefit from wondrous enhancement, both of
Hmm.
them. Spider climb, fly, and elemental bane, which sucks. Um, Not a bad list.
Yeah, it's not. It's a good
Yeah,
like buffing, debuffing
yeah.
option there.
So I think it's a pretty good feature. It's just unfortunate that it's not original.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, uh, but would you agree?
Yeah.
I think you would agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
would.
let's just move on.
Yeah.
We think it's mechanically good, thematically. Be nice if they came up with some new stuff.
Yeah.
Potent Stone at level 10. Your Transmuter Stone is more versatile. This one makes me angry. Choose up to two options when you create your Transmuter Stone. You can use each option. Oh, you can choose each option other than
Other than
resistance
resistance.
only once. So don't choose resistance twice, Colby.
Right.
I know you wanted to
No,
take
no.
resistance
Each
twice. You
each
can't.
option other than
Oh, you
resistance
can.
only once.
Oh, you
You can
can.
choose
So,
resistance twice,
whoo,
but
whoa,
you can't increase
ah,
your speed by 10 feet twice, because that would be
oh,
way too powerful.
okay, whoo.
Or
I was worried.
nor can you gain proficiency in Constitution saving throws twice.
And you can change either or both benefits when you cast a transmutation spell at using a spell slot. And that's all you get at level 10.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's weak.
That's terrible.
They
This is
need to
awful.
you're right. They need to make the Transmuter Stone options better
Yep.
other
Yep.
than con
Make every
save proficiency.
make everything even close to as good as
Yeah.
Constitution saving throw proficiency, and this would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's probably, con save proficiency
Oh,
and
oh, oh, I have a thought that
10 more
I have
feet
a
of move
thought.
speed.
So here's the options for the Transmuter Stone. So Constitution saving throw proficiency, strength saving throw proficiency, wisdom saving throw proficiency, charisma saving throw proficiency, dexterity saving throw proficiency, and intelligence saving throw proficiency.
Hmm.
6 options. And then you can choose two. That's not too
And they're
bad.
and they're gonna be, well, since you're a wizard,
Dexterity and
you're gonna
constitution.
take Dex and Wit and Con. So you still
But
don't really have a
if you hand
choice.
it off to somebody else,
Sure,
they
sure.
might choose something different. And you could also take resilient, and then you could have proficiency in what
Five.
five
Yeah.
saving throws. Yeah. Oh.
That's that you legitimately just got excited about that idea.
Yeah. I will mention that potent stone um, replaces a terrible feature.
Yeah,
The
shape
old
changer.
feature allowed you to polymorph once per short rest, but only to a creature with a maximum challenge rating of 1.
Yeah.
It was
So
bad.
it was an offensive polymorph,
Yeah, yeah, very good.
right?
You could turn into a lion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Turn an enemy into a goldfish.
No, you couldn't.
Oh no, one or
It was only on yourself.
only
You had to
yourself.
cast it
Oh
on
geez.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really bad.
It was terrible. So in defense of Potent Stone, it's probably not worse
Yeah.
than what it replaced.
I mean, I guess, and not that we need to get into it. I'm just thinking now. It's like, I mean, is this basically like druid wild shape, right? Like I can fly, like I could turn
Yeah.
into like a bat or something, or use it to infiltrate, right? Like I'm a rat and or a spider, and I can like go spy on the enemies or whatever. I don't know.
That was the idea, I think, is that you
Yeah,
use it for utility.
yeah,
But I mean, it was level 10 and you didn't get to even keep your own intelligence,
yeah.
wisdom and
That's
charisma
true.
scores,
Yeah,
so it's
follow
not
up.
like you're a smart spider.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like a regular
You're a
spider.
spider.
Yeah.
Maybe you just spin a web because you want to eat a fly.
You're affectionate towards the rest of the party so you don't bite them,
Yeah.
but like go scout the dungeon and tell us what you see. I'm gonna
Yeah.
eat this fly instead. Yeah. All right, level 14. Master Transmuter. As a magic action, you can consume the reserve of transmutation magic stored in your transmuter stone. Choose one of the following benefits. After using your transmuter stone this way, it crumbles to dust. So there's Panacea. The bear regains a number of hit points equal to twice your wizard level and ends a curse, including the target's attunement to a cursed item. A Restore Life. You can raise dead without a spell slot using the stone in place of the normally required material component. And Restore Youth, the bearer permanently appears 3d10 years younger to a minimum of young adulthood. And the old version was just a little bit better than this.
Yeah.
Um, so the old Panacea, you recovered all your hit points and you lost all your curses. There was another option that's been removed here that
Major
allowed you to change
transformation.
one object into another object. And Restore Life and Restore Youth are the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Although restore life, I think you probably still needed the spell
Oh, you might have
component.
still needed the material component.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But oh, and restore youth let you reduce age to 13 years old. And they
Oh,
probably went,
okay.
that's creepy.
That's
Young
too
adulthood.
young. I know. I just finished playing a wizard who was 12. He's in
Yeah.
my long campaign and he's aging throughout the campaign.
Maybe Wizards of the Coast is trying to nerf wizards a little bit because they feel like they're too powerful.
I gotta say, Transmuter didn't get nerfed. I think it got buffed,
Sure.
but not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, not enough.
It, it's a matter of, to me, with all of these wizard subclasses that are just like the spell school focused, you know what I mean? Uh, Spellcaster, they're all a little boring,
Yeah.
frankly.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they've made them super exciting, right?
Uh, I think that's great. A great observation. Because I really do. Yeah. If you could come up with a way, I mean, with going back to the enchanter, they've taken features that are more interesting and replaced them with features that are more boring. And it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Like we can debate whether they got buffed or nerfed at level
Right.
three. What matters is they got more boring at level
Yeah.
three.
Yeah.
They became less of an enchanter at level three. You're taking the flavor out of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
That's no
Yeah, they
good.
need they need more flavor, not less.
So I do think with the Wizards swing and a miss, like
Yeah.
these aren't bad. I'm not horribly
Mechanically,
disappointed or
yeah.
angry, but I'm not excited by any of these.
Yeah.
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 Um,
And
and
you had so many, in 2014 rules, right? You had a billion wizard subclasses, but I never did builds for most of them. Because either they were a little bit weak mechanically, or at least by comparison, or because they were boring, right?
yeah,
And
well, sometimes weak mechanically and boring go together
yeah,
because you feel generic,
yeah,
right? Yeah, because your features are so weak that they don't feel special.
yeah,
Portent feels special.
yeah.
Yeah,
And the Abjuration Shield, right,
yeah,
is cool, different, unique, but like, yeah, these enchantment. And even to be fair, I think evocation, felt cool with the sculpt spells and the more damage. I mean, if you're playing an evocation wizard, you're playing a blaster, and they gave you things that made your blasting, a lot better. But uh, I think they did a pretty good job turning the old illusion spell school,
that is
into
the
from
so
something
far.
boring that was interesting,
That is
right?
so far the yeah, in the player's handbook, that was the only wizard subclass I was excited to play.
Yeah,
And in the campaign, I'm playing a wizard. I'm an illusionist. Of course I
yeah,
am.
yeah,
Yeah. And it's good. I
yeah,
like illusion. But yeah, the other three, they felt kind of the same as they were before.
sure,
And the stuff here, some of it feels different, but not in a exciting way,
yeah,
and sometimes in a unfocused way.
sure.
Um, but the subclasses here that I thought really had an impact on me, whether positive or negative, were the non-wizards. Um, yeah,
Yep, I
and
agree.
yeah,
I agree. So, we've been doing this for 4 hours.
yeah, we have. So let's tie it up. Um, Thanks everyone for watching, and if you watch the whole series, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you,
Extra
thank you.
thank yous. Yes.
Yes, and thank you to Colby for your time. And I hope everyone will have a great week. And I will be back.
Go fill out the
Yes, and
my
fill out the
brain isn't
survey.
working anymore. Survey, thank you.
Fill
Go
out
fill
the
out the survey.
survey. Let them know what you think. I think both of us certainly will.
Yeah.
Um, but we will be back with our regular content here very soon. Okay, so
Okay.
thanks everyone. Talk to you later.
Thanks. Thanks, Chris.